Scuderia Ferrari got through its planned program during free practice for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. As usual in Jeddah, it is particularly important for the drivers to do as many laps as possible to get used to the very fast corners and to racing between the walls. Tonight, all the data will be analyzed to see what steps need to be taken prior to qualifying, which takes place tomorrow, preceded by the final hour of free practice. In the first session, both Scuderia drivers completed 24 laps, starting off on the hard to acclimatize to the track and to clean the sand off its surface, even though it soon became clear that grip on the racing line was very good. Charles Leclerc posted a time of 1:30.935 and Carlos did a 1:31.526. They then switched to soft tires, upping the pace and setting their respective best times of 1:30.030 and 1:30.164. In the final minutes, they fitted the used hard tires to run with a heavier fuel load. For Scuderia Ferrari, it has been an experimental first day of free practice in Saudi Arabia, with the Italian side ending the second practice session in Jeddah in fourth position with Charles Leclerc, while his Maranello teammate Carlos Sainz ended in seventh. The Spanish driver, moreover, is not in good shape at all. He had been confined to bed by sickness in the 24 hours prior to the first free practice session, and had hardly slept last night due to a general feeling of discomfort which certainly weakened him and his abilities to perform at his best. From ideal situation, especially on a challenging track like the 6.174-kilometer Jeddah Corniche Circuit. A SF24 with a less loaded rear wing configuration was expected, an element that could make a difference on such a fast track full of straights, especially since many of its 27 official turns are effectively straight lines as they are taken flat out. Instead, Ferrari decided to start this weekend with the Bahrain rear wing, certainly not ideal for such a layout. It's likely that the Maranello technicians wanted to test an aerodynamic setup in all conditions that would allow the SF24S more agility in Jeddah's fast corners, while at the same time compensating with the power of the engine. This experiment cannot be fully analyzed yet, considering also the lower engine mappings compared to what we will see in the race on Saturday. The garage will certainly know more, but it seems that in tomorrow's final free practice session, we will see a less loaded rear wing configuration. Ferrari's best of the day was Charles Leclerc. Fourth place for the Monegasque, almost 3/10 off Fernando Alonso's absolute best performance. However, Aston Martin, as we have come to expect, worked with a more powerful engine compared to the competition, so all things considered, Charles's time does not seem so negative, especially considering the 22 milliseconds gap from Max Verstappen's lap, who was third at the end of the day. The Saudi Arabian circuit offered a good level of grip almost immediately, as confirmed by Charles Leclerc at the end of the second free practice session on Thursday. For tomorrow, we can expect a high evolution of the track. There are many drivers very close in terms of lap times, so it will be interesting to see who will be able to extract the most from their car and find the advantage to get ahead of everyone. Ferrari will go into qualifying configuration, so they need to optimize the package available and make a step forward compared to Bahrain. Can the Maranello team compete with Red Bull and the others for pole position? Charles Leclerc certainly thinks so. The Monegasque was the only top driver to try the race configuration with soft C5 tires. The times gradually improved, although in the first two laps, the 35.2 and 34.6 turned out to be anything but competitive. The feeling is that this compound will not be the favorite for Saturday's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and probably Ferrari itself does not need to risk on a track that is very gentle with tires in terms of degradation. Scuderia Ferrari had to deal with the problem over the last 24 hours. Carlos Sainz risked not participating at least in today's free practice due to a stomach issue that had kept him in bed. Moreover, the Spaniard also struggled to sleep last night, so Oliver Behrman was put on alert, as the Ferrari Driver Academy member was already in Jeddah to race in Formula 2, and by the way, will start from pole position. Carlos Sainz gritted his teeth and got in the car, but even looking at his face after FP2, you can see how he is quite strained and weak. Just like for Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz's times also improved lap after lap, but the Spaniard was on medium tires like everyone else. Evidently, Ferrari tried a more conservative approach, although the traffic issue, crucial in Jeddah especially in free practice, cannot be ruled out. It is therefore difficult to give a concrete judgment on the race pace of the two Ferrari drivers. It is necessarily to wait for Friday, when the final free practice session and the qualifying session are set to take place in Saudi Arabia.